Hello everyone, it's been about 6 years since I initially released Super Mario Sunshine Arcade 2, if you can believe it. I'm making this video to address some of the issues people may have had with the game over the years, and to announce the release of what is hopefully the definitive bug-free version of the game. Though the initial launch went well, there were a few problems. In particular, a few of the levels were invisible or showed up as the wrong color. The game was developed with the Dolphin emulator since that's all I had at the time. It was never designed for console. Instead, the specific version of Dolphin I had at the time was the benchmark, and everything seemed to work fine. However, about a year after the initial release, as developers refined the emulator with updates, some bugs in Arcade 2 started appearing. It was not a case where the older versions of the emulator, being slightly broken, actually made the game work properly, and the newer, more accurate emulators recreated some bugs which would have happened on console anyway. Arcade 2 was the last thing I had ever done with Super Mario Sunshine, and pretty soon after it I had moved on to other hobbies. So when these bugs started happening, I never endeavored to actually fix them. But it was around this time that someone messaged me saying that they had fixed these issues with new level models, and that they wanted to release a new version of the game on my behalf. Since I had abandoned the project, I agreed, and this was the version that got uploaded to Game Banana. Now, unfortunately, as well as fixing the level models, this person had also noticed that some of the Shine Sprite IDs were seemingly wrong. These are basically just unique numbers that are given to every Shine Sprite in the game so that it can track which ones have been collected and which ones haven't. Logically then, you might think that the first Shine Sprite would be 0, the next one would be 1, 2, and so on. This is what they thought as well, and so when they saw the first Shine Sprite in the game actually had an ID of 86, they changed it to ID 0. Now, what they didn't know at the time was that these Shine Sprite IDs were deliberately chosen by me to match the IDs that were used in the original game. Thus, by changing the IDs, they had accidentally made them no longer unique. This is why anyone who would have used this version would have seen a blue Shine Sprite in the Bianco Hills level, because that Shine Sprite also has ID 0, and so when you go to that level, the game thinks you've already collected it. Now, when you tried to collect that blue shine, the counter wouldn't increment, and the game would just load you back into the exact same level. Effectively, you were soft-locked, and this version of the game was unplayable. I was aware of this issue, but I was under the impression that it had been fixed shortly after the initial faulty version was uploaded. However, it only recently came to my attention that in actuality, this broken version has been the only publicly accessible version for the last 4 or so years. I want to make it clear that I don't blame the person who made this faulty patch. At the end of the day, I think it was an honest mistake and they were only trying to help me make the game better. I also could have been a lot more careful with vetting this version before I approved the upload of it. Now, with the release of this video, I hope to rectify this situation by releasing version 2.1, which fixes the Shine Sprite IDs and the broken levels. I want to give a massive thank you to Sunshine modder Epic Wade, who made this patch. This version has been fully tested by me and Epic Wade with the newest version of Dolphin. I've managed to 100% the game with no issues. This version doesn't support GameCube or Wii, however. Though I haven't tested, I'm almost certain that the underwater level will still crash the game on real hardware. Other than these bug fixes, there's no new content or additions to this mod in this version. I hope that this version can be the definitive version of the mod and that these issues can be put to rest. In order to install the mod, just head over to the Game Banana page and download the zip file. In there you'll find 3 files, a batch script, a patch file and an xdelta file. Now simply acquire your Sunshine ISO and drag it onto the bat file. This will apply the patch and generate the Arcade 2 ISO. Note that this only works with the USA version of the game. Now you can open this ISO in Dolphin and you should be good to go. Before I go, I want to mention a few things. First of all, I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who's actually played this hack over the years. I still sometimes get messages from random people saying how much they like it, which is always a very nice surprise. I also want to say thank you to YouTuber Particular Mushroom, who made a really great video about this hack. It does feel good to hear all these kind words, and I'm glad that I could bring a little bit of extra life to one of my favorite games with this hack. Thank you as well to the community who, in the years since my hack, have pushed modding for this game so much further than I thought it would ever go. Second of all, I want to say that though I've left Sunshine modding behind, I haven't stopped making video games. In the meantime, I made a video game called Arid Arnold, which you can download for free on itch.io. It's a 2D puzzle platformer where you have to explore 9 different worlds. Each world has its own unique mechanics, so in one world you might have to touch these orbs which rotate the whole level. Then in another you have to interact with clones of yourself. There's even one world where you travel backwards and forwards in time. I just want to say that if you liked Arcade 2, then maybe you'll like this as well. And for the programmers out there, I've also made it open source. That's all I have to say for now, so thank you everyone for watching, and farewell.